That Matrix style, baby.
We are back.
Coming in like Neo.
Coming in episode 4. Count it 4. Episode 4 of the prison series.
Yeah, buddy.
Continuation of our previous episode where we left off. Federal prison, 1 month in.
1 month in.
That's
man.
where we left off. And I gotta tell you, man, like, I know we got our buddy. Oh, like my buddy's been saying that he's been loving this.
Yeah.
But there's other people who've been like, yo, good shit.
Good stuff, man. I enjoy people. If you like that shit, it's great, man. You know?
Yeah, hit
I
that.
just like to say my story, and it is what it is.
I mean, that's all you got to share, really, is your story, right?
Yeah. You say your bits, and then if people like it, great. If not, you know what, man? You said your shit, and you fucking die, man. It's not too much time to like sit around and like
Yeah,
wonder
sure. Yeah,
what's
yeah.
gonna fucking happen.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? It is what it is. You got any questions for me?
Yeah,
Let's start out with a couple questions.
I got a bunch. So I'll just start you off while you're doing your thing there.
Yeah.
And these will be like, because so far in this series we've been doing things pretty chronologically. Like
Yeah.
it's been from beginning to end or whatever. But these questions that I'm going to throw at you are just going to be like random. So it might be maybe the thing happened near the end of your time or maybe it didn't. But I got a couple that'll throw out right now. One is we've already mentioned the general political structure in prisons.
Yeah.
Now, can you give us, the viewers and the listeners, a better idea for what you saw at the federal level in terms of the scope of how big that political structure was? And like, people think of, shot callers and, different positions within these prison gangs. But what did you see personally down there?
So let's start off with like people who are like in there for multiple counts of murder, multiple counts of life sentences. These guys tend to be the older guys, the OGs that tend to do call the shots.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because they can call these shots from different units, from different levels.
Mm-hmm.
They can call this. So let's say you're an OG and you're calling a shot from some lower level tier. You're still an OG. Like, they recognize that you are a level gang, just like Hell's Angels guy would be that way as well, right?
Oh, so you're saying no matter where, like in the Hell's Angel example, let's say you're part of the Quitland chapter, if you're a high-level shot caller...
If you're high enough level shot caller, you could call a shot in Ontario.
In Kelowna.
Doesn't matter.
Interesting.
Because you're a brotherhood, right?
Yeah,
you're a gang. You're a brotherhood.
So
doesn't matter.
So same deal in prison gangs as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between the units.
Absolutely. And the fucked up thing is like, my question is, how the fuck do they communicate?
That's...
Because it's very interlinked. Like, you don't understand. Like, some of these units that you can't call outside. Like, you can't call outside of the unit.
What do you mean by call? You mean like phone call? What do you mean
you
by
don't
call?
have phone call rights. You
Right.
don't, some of these things you don't have. Like,
oh, but like I mean I heard stories of, you guys, you can confirm or deny this, like people smuggling in cell phones somehow from whatever, they got connects outside. So
the problem with cell phones nowadays is like, the older prisons you can do this,
yeah.
but the newer prisons, not only do they have metal detectors, but they have like radio detection.
Oh, so it's like a whole thing.
So it's like the newer level prisons, you're not going to be able to sneak a cell phone because they'll go into wings in different units and just radio test everything, see if anybody has like anything.
Oh, crazy.
Because a radio and a cell phone have different signals.
Yes, yeah, that's
so
true.
you could set it for, it's like kind of like a metal detector, but for signal,
You
for
just
radio
change the
signal.
bands.
Yeah, so you could check the frequency and if it's there or not. So that's not even an option anymore.
So can you, by looking at these people without being told, like let's say it's your first week or so, your first month,
can you tell who's higher up?
Yeah, can you tell who the shot callers are, like on the yard when you look?
Yeah.
How can you tell?
Generally, they're not.
Do they just feel different? Like, when you look at them, they just got like an air about them that's like, okay, this guy looks like he carries weight with them.
It's exactly that. It's
Right?
because if you see who they're surrounded by, they're constantly surrounded, constantly protected.
Right.
So that's a scary thought, because at all times, like, this guy is getting followed by a goon of dudes.
Yeah.
You're like, why are they walking, this little petite little guy walking around, and he's telling him what to do, and they're constantly bringing him food, they're constantly fucking dabbing him up. And they're talking, laughing all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, you see the interaction, and the interaction is like they have a dominance over bigger guys, and you're like, that's not real.
Has to be a reason for that.
There's a reason. There's you know. So that being said, it's not just that you're old, but it's that you see that reaction. Like if they do an action, there's an instant reaction.
Right.
If you're not a shot caller, there's not going to be no reaction. So because everybody in there is a killer or something, you know. So everybody, it's like nobody's gonna just like start bowing down to you just for no reason, right? So there's reasons. And then like another thing, when you have like we had the NFL, the Super Bowl, right? We're watching it.
Yeah.
And dudes are making spreads, and we're talking about ghetto spreads and how the vocabulary, what it is, right?
I remember you mentioned that.
Yeah. So that right there, you'll see these guys, right, trying to make ghetto spreads, and like the spread that they make is like $400.
That's a fuck ton of money, isn't it?
So and then he'll invite guys, like he'll invite guys that are like within his like what he likes. So he'll invite guys to be like, hey, come on in, like join the spread.
That's crazy.
So it's like
that's crazy. So like these guys are just basically throwing a spread for whoever they want because they just got that much, because they can basically.
Yeah. And another thing, one time I saw a guy. I'm not gonna say his name.
Okay.
But he got into it with one of these COs.
Okay.
And basically, him and the CO got in together, and then the OG didn't like how the CO was acting. Okay?
Right.
And generally, when we go, we usually see a rotation of COs.
Right.
Like it's not like we never see a particular CO. We see all the COs. It's just a rotation.
Yeah. Okay. So is that like to prevent them having too many problems in one area, or like what? Why
no, it's to prevent them from like
getting close,
building bonds.
Oh yeah.
And like because okay, let's say a CO, if you work, you know, he's getting paid basically like a nurse. Right. If you work 60-hour weeks, you're gonna make $100,000. But if you don't, you're making like 70 G's.
Fair enough.
So that being said, generally they want to keep you friendly but far away from them.
Friendly but far, funny but foul.
Funny but foul. That's right, man.
Shout out.
F and F's, man. So that when you have that going on, you ask around. You say, "Hey, what happened to them?"
Yeah, right. What's going on?
And then you know, one CO might say nothing. One CO might say something like, "Oh yeah, he quit." Blah blah blah. But the first time I asked where Brian was, everybody's like, "Oh, it was tragic."
What the fuck? Who said it's tragic? The prisoners?
No, the CO.
The COs were saying, "Fuck hell."
He's like, I can't go into detail of what happened.
Sure.
But he just disappeared, and this is the same guy that had that problem with the OG. So it's like,
what the fuck?
They have that kind of moving power where
that's crazy.
Most of these guys are in here by choice.
The OGs, you mean?
A lot of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's hard to believe, but it's like they made deals
that actually
took plea bargains that make it a way where they'll stay here, but then they'll lay off. Like the policing will lay off their whatever organization or whatever bike gang or whatever, you know, Southsiders are whatever they do, right? So there are these kind of pleas.
That actually leads me to like my next question, which is, you've watched not just prison movies, but like gangster movies where like prisons are involved.
Yeah,
of course, right? Like
of course,
especially a lot of them are mainstream and all that. Which of the ones that you've watched have been the most realistic? And I'm not saying the whole movie has to be realistic, but movies, like there have been moments where you're like, oh yeah, that happened. Or, yeah, that reminds me of how that shit used to happen, or shit like that. Does anything come to mind at all?
It's too fucking emotional in these movies. That's the thing. The reality that's, like, they don't show. They don't show, like, your first week, first month. After a while, you'll be sleeping, suddenly you'll hear a dude.
Right.
Just screaming. And you'll be like, what happened?
Yeah.
And that guy ends up the next day transferring to a PCR, and then he snitches his cellie. His cellie was raping him.
Jesus.
And you're hearing this.
Ugh.
So you're not going to see this shit on some, like, you know, where's that fucking movie, the series?
Prison Break?
Prison Break, yeah.
Well, no, that's fluffy, but what you just described happened in, you watched American History X?
No, I haven't watched that.
Oh, okay, well, maybe check that out.
Yeah.
That one's from the perspective of a white power kind of guy, like white supremacist, that ends up going to prison and then whatever. But what you just...
Not going to lie, man, white power guys in prison are kind of soft.
what you just described though, like that moment actually happens in the movie. It's pretty shocking to see that because you don't really see guy on guy rape in film. It's a pretty graphic thing to bring up because you're not really going to be able to get too many people to watch your movie if you put that on. Generally speaking, it's a risk as a filmmaker. It's a risk you take putting some of these like really graphic moments on because not only is it rated R, but the reason that it's rated R is. And yeah, that kind of rape is like people will turn away from watching the movie because they're like, man, I don't know about this. But what you mentioned about the OGs in prison reminds you watch Goodfellas?
Yeah, I watched.
Okay,
Goodfellas, yeah.
That just reminds me that
it is Goodfellas-esque.
There was a moment there in the movie where the main guy is worried about going to prison because he got caught the first time. He's like, oh fuck, and then his buddy, the De Niro guy, is like, dude, don't worry about it, like it's fine. And the guy's like, well, what do you mean it's fine? It's like, dude, just don't snitch, don't talk, don't whatever, and you'll be good. And then later, the guy keeps narrating. He's like, actually, what I learned from my time is that the only people who want to go to prison, the only people who go to prison are the ones who want to. And this was back in the mafia days.
Right.
Because he was like, they basically used it as almost like a break, whether it was a break from the daily grind of what they were doing, break from their wives, break from whatever, but they basically made themselves get into prison. So very, very little times these guys actually get caught with the intention of like, oh fuck,
getting caught.
Yeah, like I fucked up. And that's especially true for the OGs because there was like one of the OGs who got to prison in the movie, and he's just like chilling, and he's calling the shots, he's doing whatever he wants to because he wants to be there.
The thing is, some of these guys, like, we don't have an understanding of what it is to be, who are we talking about. It's hard to reflect exactly a picture by describing these people. But generally, understand that mid to high level detectives are on these guys' payrolls.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
This is not something, and those are the guys that are trying to figure out, right? These are the feds.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find out. So if you got a guy that you're paying, whatever his salary is California 125K salary, whatever, you're paying him 200K on the side to rap for you.
Yeah.
He's gonna fucking do it.
He's gonna do it.
He's gonna do it. So it is what it is, but. Like, just to paint a picture, these guys are, if they don't want to be seen and heard and, looked at, they will not be there. They're very easily, they can get in, get out. It's very easy.
That's crazy to think of, that they have that much pull.
Well, just understand, it's hours in, right?
Yeah.
Guy spends hours into fucking medicine, he's going to become a doctor.
Yeah.
Guy puts in hours into, in the mafia, he's going to be a fucking mafia.
For sure.
High head honcho. And then plus, you bring in the versatility of, okay, you were born into this. Mm-hmm. Then you don't really have to work for it. You're just there.
Right.
So it's just a matter of you maturing and being able to call shots.
Was there like a tiered level of ranks that you could tell at all from these prison gangs? Not all. So it's basically you got your OGs and you got everybody else.
You got OGs and you got everybody else.
Interesting. And this is the same regardless of the race. So it didn't matter if it was like the white power guys or if it was your
to be honest with you, the white power guys I wasn't interested by their tier system. It wasn't very.
Do they have one?
It wasn't very complex.
What was it?
It was just a bunch of dudes. Like to an outsider, they looked like they were equals.
What about the? You mentioned the Southsiders had like a very good structure in county jail.
Yeah.
Do they carry that same structure into the feds?
Much more.
Oh wow.
Much more complex than county, because county is you're in for a shorter period of time, whereas feds you're in there for a long time.
Can't really establish.
Yeah, so these guys have like days where drugs are coming in, like Tuesday coke is coming in.
What the fuck,
Thursday
man?
Order by fucking Monday. Tuesday coke's coming. Like that's a real thing.
That's a business is what that is.
Hey, I know you're new here, but this is what's on the menu this week. We got some lime kush, we got some tuna, and then Tuesday we're coming in with the 8-ball.
Jesus.
So it's like every line, I believe, was $40. Every you do a line of blow. It's $40.
It's a lot for 40. That's a lot. That's a lot for a line.
I mean, a lot of these guys, to bring that in is hard.
Yeah, $40 no kidding. You're paying for the risk that it takes to bring in, for sure. It's not like you go in downtown Vancouver paying $100 for a gram. I mean, it's not a real gram. It's like.
Let me tell you one story though. Let me tell you one story about weed. So, I was stressed, right? And I was making friends, And
how long is this into you?
This is probably a month and a weekend.
Okay.
So like probably 5 weeks in.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. And I was stressed because I wasn't really able to talk to my lawyer on a consistent basis. I didn't understand what was going on.
Do you know why that was?
Well, my case was just I was waiting for a court date, waiting for a court date. So it's like you're not really understanding if you're doing dead time. This is the thing I want to explain to people. I wasn't doing time in the feds. I was doing dead time while I fight my case.
So your time didn't even start, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is I wasn't doing a sentencing. I was just in there because they couldn't legally send me out there.
Fuck.
That's why it was like doing a 3-year sentence is one thing, but doing like a 1.5-year sentence where it's not a sentence, you're just waiting there.
That's
dead
crazy.
time.
That's crazy.
That's worse because you don't deserve to be in here.
It doesn't
you're
go
just
to
there.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's like paying rent versus own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, but that was savage. So anyway, I remember being in there and there was this one Brazilian cat and he was in others too, right?
Right.
And for people that don't know, don't get these colored tattoos and shit and then try to be a gangster. Like if you're gonna get colored tattoos, be a hipster. Like don't do like criminal activities.
Yeah.
Because when you go to prison and you got colored tattoos, they'll look at you all funny like you're a twink. Right. You know what I mean? It's not cool to get colored tattoos in there.
Right.
So this Brazilian guy had like a bunch of green and pink and shit on his fucking. That's no go, good. Man. No go. It's either fucking green, like black.
Yeah.
Or not. Don't get a tattoo.
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy had a. He's like, hey, you're in black and others. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I got some weed. We can roll it. He's like, can you match it? I'm like, how much you got? He's like, I got 0.5. I'm like, I'll get 0.5. I didn't tell him that I have tea bags.
Right.
So he didn't know how to roll because he's like a preppy kid.
Yeah.
Right? So he gave it to me and I put fucking tea bag. Like I took it out of the tea bag and I put dry tea in there to add volume to it. So and then we were smoking and he's like, dude, this tastes like Earl Grey, man. This tastes like Earl fucking Grey.
Did you tell him what you did?
No, hell no.
But then, so I tell him? When he said it was tasting like Earl Grey, what'd you tell him? Like, oh, that's in your head?
No, I was like, oh yeah, some of it dropped in the tea and shit, and I had to take it out.
Motherfucker.
But like, I'm not gonna say nothing.
Of course. Well, if he's listening now, heads up. But that wasn't all weed.
Fuck that guy, man. That guy's dad fucking. Okay, so that kid. The interesting thing about him was that he was a drunk driver and he hit somebody, and he was waiting for a court date.
Yeah.
So his dad ended up paying $100,000 for bail. His bail was set at $1 million. Listen, his dad went to a bail bondsman and put in 10% down, which is $100,000.
Yep.
So if your dad has $100,000 to throw in there for you to get out, you're a spoiled brat. That's it. It is what it is.
That's crazy.
Like I would never.
If I had $1 million bail for drunk driving.
Bro, he killed the dude.
Oh shit! Yeah. I guess that'll fucking do it. Still, that's a fuck ton.
And he fled.
Of course he did.
He was a flea case. Like this case happened like 3 years ago.
Right.
You don't understand. Like this wasn't something like he was there for now. He was fleeing for 3 years.
Yeah.
They caught him in like Arkansas somewhere.
Arkansas?
Dude, I don't fucking know.
No, I understand. But like the idea of like him going from Cali all the way to buttfuck, whatever.
Dude, you do something like that and your dad has money, you're running away for life.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stick
around.
Why
didn't you just fuck off to Brazil?
He's Brazilian descent. He's like you. He's like fucking.
I got family in Peru. I could just fuck off to Peru if I really needed to leave the country.
Yeah, but then how can you come back?
You don't come back. You got a prison sentence. You got a fucking warrant out for your arrest. Why would you come back?
Okay, but his dad just bailed him. Do you understand the end result?
But he said he fled anyway, so what the fuck was
No. They eventually caught him.
Yeah, but...
Okay? No. This is my thing. He did this like 2 years prior of me being there in the feds, okay?
Okay.
He fled for like a year and a bit.
Right.
They caught him in like Kansas or Arkansas or somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay? They brought him back to California. He got transferred. So he went to prison in like Arkansas or whatever. They transferred him to Cali because that's where the crime took place. And then after, like, he did a court date, and sometimes they let you bail after a certain amount of court dates, certain amount of time, you've already served.
Makes sense.
So he got that. He was in there for like, I think 11 months at the time.
Okay.
So he did 11 months, and then his dad put $100,000 down and got him out.
Jesus.
So I don't know if he won his case or not, but like he probably ended up doing, another 3 years.
Yeah, fuck. That's fucked up. Jeez, that's like that's 6 years total, roughly.
And the kid was like, I think 26 or 27 at the time. He wasn't that old.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that, if you do some shit like that, like your future's done, right? In California, you kill somebody drinking, driving, your future's done. You can't get a government job. You can't get any good jobs. You can't
get that expunged, right? You basically fucked.
You can't get that expunged. No, hell no.
Yeah, get that expunged.
No, rape, murder.
Yeah.
I think certain aggravated, like if you have aggravated assault, and the person becomes disabled, you can't get that expunged either. So it has to do a lot with not only intent, but it has to do with like outcome.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean, also I'd imagine California's pretty strict with a lot of their laws, anyways, in terms of like how much leeway you get for certain felonies.
Absolutely. So I want to go into first week. So this is where I started getting really aggravated, as I said before, and generally what would happen is I would go into seg a lot. Like for the time that I was there, from first month to third month, I was in seg probably, I want to say 40% of the time. And
that's a lot, man. What the fuck?
And to describe seg for you guys, to go into depth of what seg is a unit where there's lights outside, like in the hallway, in the open area, but in the cell it's a single man cell, and there's no lights in there. There's holes in the door,
right,
for your hands to get cuffed, but there's no actual lights. So when you go in there, right, there's guys that accidentally take shits like outside the toilet.
Jesus.
And nobody cleans that shit up. So you walk in there, like I like first day I walked down shit.
Ugh.
And like you're kind of stuck there. There's soap, but it's like one of those no-name garbage soaps where it doesn't clean anything. So you smell your feet. You end up washing your feet like 20 fucking times, and it still smells like shit.
Oh fuck!
And you get no phone calls, so you have no idea. Like they just tell, if you're in seg, they tell your lawyer like he's in seg, he can't.
So I was just gonna. That was one of my questions. There is, what do you do to get in touch with your lawyer? You
got to get out of seg.
Is your lawyer just making sure to follow up with the prison until they tell them that hey, he's finally out of seg?
Yeah.
Fuck.
There's nothing you can do, and they're reasonable with the seg. They won't let you in there for like more than 4 weeks at a time.
That's still a long time.
You guys have to understand.
4 weeks.
When you go into seg for 7 days, which I did multiple times, 7 days when you're in there feels like
forever. I
want to say it feels like 20 days, 25 days, because you have no concept of time.
I think I was. This reminds me of. Remember that there's that passage of that book that I told you where they did like a little experiment with a couple like scientists.
Right.
Where they stuck a guy in a cave and they gave him like no reference for.
You were telling me about this.
Yeah, and then basically it's like what happened. He's like, how long do you think it was? He's like, oh, like X many days. I'm like, no, bro, it's actually like this much. And he's like, what the fuck, really? They're like, yep.
Yeah, so was his I forget, but was
his was the opposite actually, which was funny.
He felt like it was shorter?
Yeah, but that's because they stuck him in there. This is the other thing, because you were only in seg in 7 day stints, right?
Yeah.
Their experiment was for much longer.
Okay.
So I think maybe what happens is the longer you stay, the less it feels like eventually. So if you were to stay in a cave with no reference for day and night for like 6 months, you would maybe think that it was only 3 months.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I think, but when it's shorter, so like if it's like 2 days, you're like, oh my god, it's been like 3 days, 4 days.
Right. Yeah. Another thing is the COs, they like mad disrespect you and shit.
That's on purpose, right?
That's on purpose. Yeah. They'll like throw your food. Like there's a little tray thing that you can open up, another little door, and they can slide it on that and leave it on that. But some of them, if you get into a fight with them or something, or an argument, they'll just throw your shit and you should be on the floor. And
I was just gonna say it's on a tray, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it'll just spill everywhere. Your jello's everywhere and shit. And then if you have any like the food in there, this is what I want to tell you guys. All the food in there, like 90% of the food that you get is soy. It's meant to.
What is it? Just because it's cheap and it's easy to make? Like what the fuck?
There's that aspect, and there's the aspect of if you give us real meat, our testosterone levels will go to a point where if you got men with optimum testosterone levels in a cell for 22 hours a day, that guy gets out, he's gonna be insane.
Right.
So he's gonna be provocative. He's gonna be fighting people. He's gonna be
this soy
aggravated.
Is this soy diet specifically for people in seg?
No, this is soy diets for people,
everyone.
People in county, prison, jail, prison.
Yeah, prison in general.
Penitentiaries, anything.
I thought it was like when you're in SEG, they do that.
No. They do that everywhere.
So they don't do legit food. I thought there was like
very few days like okay. Thanksgiving you'll get like turkey. Christmas you'll get like I think we got a legit burger. Yeah. New Year's we got hot dogs. So you will get certain things, but you have to understand like this is once in how long?
Yeah,
3 times a year.
Yeah,
like bro, you can't. You get skinny fat when you go in there. I went in there and I was my biggest at that time because all I did was lift weights and go to the gym and like go to school. Like that's all I fucking did. I didn't do it real like I didn't have a 9 to 5% out of part time.
Yeah.
Right. So that was enough for me. So I was doing that and I was huge. I was probably 230, 235. I went in there. Jesus. I came out. I was like 175.
Are you kidding me,
bro? You're not getting enough
That's
food.
Crazy.
You don't understand. Like you're on crazy. Like 1,800 calories. You're hungry constantly. That's why you buy like soups and shit. You know how many soups I have to eat to like preserve my hunger? Just the hunger. It's insane.
That's fucked.
Like you have 3 meals a day, let's say, right? And you get 1,800 calories.
Oh yeah, and there's no snacks. There's
no snacks.
3 meals.
It's just 3 meals. There's nothing you can do between.
Yeah.
There's no like, unless you get commissary. That's the thing. Guys, like that's why guys will go on hunger strikes.
Yes.
Okay, but then they'll eat their commissary. So if you do that right, nobody's gonna know. Generally, like they'll be concerned.
Right.
Like if you have, there was a guy in there that was on a wheelchair, and he was in a wheelchair for like a long ass time. He had money too.
Why was he in jail if he was in a wheelchair? Is that common? What the fuck?
No, it's not common.
Yeah.
So this guy, he had like he was an amputee.
Oh, okay.
So he had to be in a wheelchair. You understand what I'm saying? But he was still a criminal.
I guess, but I would think that they have like special prisons for handicapped
This
people.
guy was savage. He would cuss you out. Like when we had female COs, because we always had 2 COs in the unit at a time.
Right.
They were never singular. So when we had two COs, and it was like some. If you are in prison for 10, 20 years, and you don't see girls, a fat, ugly girl can come in there, and you're gonna start spitting game to her.
Sure.
It's just the reality of what men are like biologically.
Yeah.
So this guy was like 59, 60 years old, trying to talk to like some fat ass, ugly ass girl.
Yeah.
And he was like trying to spit game. He's like, if I was out of here, I'd buy you a car. We'd get out of here. You know?
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So he was like that. And anyway, this guy went on like a hunger strike of 6 months.
6 months.
So you have to understand, no meals a day at all for this guy. He would just stay in a cell, and he
commissary.
Dude, this guy had like $400 or $500 of commissary every month.
How was he like this well connected?
He was not a guy that you could talk to and figure out. This is the thing. He was like an
enigma.
He was like an Embers type of guy.
Yeah, enigma.
You know?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
He wouldn't really talk to anybody. He would just do his own thing.
Was he affiliated at all? In prison?
No, because he's on a wheelchair. He's not going to be affiliated.
But he'd be with the others.
But he is doing something. No, he was European. He was like with the
whites.
The whites. But he wasn't like swastika white.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
He had a ponytail. He was in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he was just like rocking it. But he wouldn't talk to anybody. He would stand outside of it. He would sit, roll his chair outside of his thing, and do like puzzles. You know what I mean? Like this is the type of guy he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He'd like listen to music, do puzzles all day.
That's funny.
That's the type of guy he is. So, guys like that are strange because they've been fighting their case. They've been doing dead time for like 9 years.
That's fucked.
They're the.
And how long was he in there when you met him? Like 20 at that point?
I think I want to say 16 years at that point.
Probably still in there, right?
Yeah. So like some of these, like Gordo, right? I was asking about him. Gordo had like wife and kids, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, at what point did your wife and kids give up?
Yeah.
And he's like, I legit just told him to give up eventually.
Fuck.
Because
like he told them.
Yeah, he told them. Because he's like, yo, what? Like, you got to move on, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm here 12 years. Now I'm here 30 years.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like, why are you showing up for visitation? I'm not getting out.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Like, you're a good wife and all that, but I love you, and this is the way it is.
We got kids. I mean, yeah. It's like
you got kids. You got to go, man. I can't make money for you.
Yeah.
And well, Gordo was a different case, but generally, average guy in there, you're not gonna have, you know, money and stuff like that. So that was interesting. Yeah. So other than the seg, one more thing that was interesting was was the amount of rape that you see.
Really? Like a lot?
Not that a lot, but
more than you would think.
There's about 75 cells in that unit.
In your unit?
In my unit.
Okay.
So in a week time, I would say you'd average every 2 weeks you'd average one.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And it's
That's
usually
still
the
more
same.
than I would think.
It's usually the same people though. Because there's people that don't necessarily run with a crew. You don't have to run with a crew.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's dangerous. That's dangerous on its own accord.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like not as masculine as a guy, you know?
Yeah, sure.
If you're like a little twink, you go in there, you know, and people start fucking with you, and you got some long timer that fucking just moves into your cell.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of a creep. You're
dundies,
bro.
You're in for some shit there.
You're in for it. And a lot of guys try to fake injuries to like be able to go to the hospital and shit like that. You see a lot of that shit.
Yeah. To get out of this situation.
It's really, really funny. There was this kid, I think his name was Edward, but his real name was Eduardo. And he faked a fall in front of me while we had that 1 hour every few days. I was playing ping pong, and he like I saw him in my peripheral, and I saw him like look around, spill a little bit of his coffee on the ground, and move his foot, and he like slipped, and he like faked it, like soccer faked it.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure. Threw his legs out. Like,
fake, and he just fell on the ground all awkward and shit. I'm like, I walked up to him, I'm like, dude, I saw what happened. He's like, dude, shut the fuck up, get out of here. Yeah. And he was there for like 3-4 hours,
right?
Just in that position.
Jesus.
Like that's how desperate these guys are to
just
get the fuck out. Yeah.
How long would they have? I mean, that gives them like a week break, roughly.
Dude, no. That
Less.
brings him like a 2-day break at most. At best, 2-day break.
Fuck.
So you guys are thinking like, oh yeah, this guy gets to go have all this fun. No, bro. He's gonna go get like orange juice and get slightly better like food at the hospital. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. But yeah, it's so like you see the desperation on men, man. You like if you work in an office setting, how many those guys imagine can run through this kind of scenario and not fall apart?
Fall apart?
Yeah, like that desperation, you'd see it among them. Most guys, I would say, you see this, that they kind of break down in there. It's a different thing, like week after week, month after month. How long can you stay in there without breaking down?
That's a crazy question to ask, because who knows, right? Especially like in the office. There's like a couple of guys I can think of.
Absolutely. I think in every real world setting, it's like when you come out of prison, one thing you realize is that it's really nice and you're almost euphoric at a certain point.
Yeah, what was that, I guess, getting out? Actually, we could talk about the next episode.
We talk about that next one.
Yeah.
But I liked every time my lawyer would come in, she'd bring me like these Kit Kats.
Oh, yeah.
And dog, I would go back and this is what I would do, okay? This is where I picked it up in prison. I would save 2 of them for myself.
Okay.
And then like trade 2 of them for some other shit I wanted.
Else, yeah.
Like what are those like those fucking pepperoni sticks?
Yeah,
what are those called?
Pepperoni sticks.
Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about, like the
the long ones.
Yeah. So I would trade 2 with like some Mexican kid. I could grab those and shit. Yeah. And like, every few weeks, we would pick somebody from a little box.
Yeah.
Like if we were on good behavior, and that person would be able to get like a vegetable, like green onions.
Damn. That's
right?
a big fucking deal, right?
Dude, green fucking onions.
Because you can start adding that to the soups, like
bro.
That
green
everything.
Onions, bro.
Holy shit!
Like if you get like, you know, quarter pound of green onions, bro, you're set. Bro. You're set for a few weeks.
Damn.
You got fucking soups. You can add that in your cafeteria food. It is what it is. But yo, morning time.
Yeah.
60% of the time they gave us grits.
Grits, huh? In California, they gave you grits. I find that pretty funny because grits is mostly a southern thing.
It is what it is.
I guess so.
Yeah. You got any questions for me?
Well, yeah. I guess we can also save them for the next one. I'm thinking one more that I can ask is, do you have like a couple of like really funny moments that happened to you in prison in that 9 month stint?
So,
Give me like two.
Gordo
really funny
was a scary guy, right? Okay. So he used to sleep a lot because he was diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay, he was fat as shit, obviously, but anyway, one time.
Hence the name.
Yeah. One time we there was this one CO. What the fuck was his name? Alex or something, or Alexander?
Okay.
This kid was Russian. He was like Russian descent.
Like Alexei.
Yeah, Alexei. But he wasn't like a cool Russian. He was like a soft Russian. So one time we grabbed this guy, like he's walking by Gordo's cell.
Yeah.
And we're like hanging out right there. And we push him into Gordo's cell and we close the fucking door. We run the fuck away. Dude, this kid was screaming. Like, think about it. He's like a 22, 23-year-old kid.
Yeah, he's a legit kid.
And
first time in prison?
Yeah. No. He's not in prison. He's a CO, bro.
Oh, fuck.
He's a CO,
Oh, fuck. I missed that part.
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's like one of those kids that like went to like JIBC or something.
Well, actually, it might still be his first time in a prison.
Yeah, in a prison.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he went to like JIBC and he like just got hired.
Oh my god.
And they put him with like this other guy.
Jesus.
And the other guy was downstairs.
Like the senior guy.
Yeah, senior guy. So this guy, and he's like screaming and shit. And the senior guy had to like walk up and he's like, oh fuck, here we go. Alexei, what'd you do now? Get out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a funny time.
Did they know that it was? Did Alexei know it was you two? You guys didn't even see you.
No, we definitely went to Seg after that.
Oh,
we definitely went to Seg after that. No, you know, just you do this shit to brighten your day.
Yeah,
but
sure.
you know that
you're paying for it.
You know that you're gonna pay for it. It is what
hilarious.
it is. But
That's hilarious.
You're doing that time in there. It's endless.
Fuck it.
You know, a lot of guys would read and shit in there, right? But you get tired of reading. Because you got like 20-something hours by yourself. How much can you fucking read?
I would go ham with reading for like 2 days. I want to say longer because you hear stories of guys who get like fucking degrees in prison because they're fucking... Bro, they just have that much time.
I'm telling you, you can't get a degree in prison.
Look this up right now.
This guy thinks you can get a degree. Okay, I want to get a software degree in prison. Degree.
No, not software. Just regular.
Well, it comes to undergrad, the answer is yes. Inmates, both federal and state, can enroll in a degree program.
Yeah,
but it is, hold on. But it is what? When it comes
more
to
difficult
degrees,
sounds. Yeah, I believe. No shit. Dog, let's get
it's not like a
straight.
4-year thing.
I understand that getting a degree in prison, you're not just going to walk into the lecture hall and fucking professor whatever is going to tell you what to do.
One thing.
I understand it's going to be very, very difficult compared to like conventional, but
you also have to be a citizen.
Oh yeah, true. You were like basically a fucking Afghani out there, man.
I was an illegal. I was a refugee.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't have rights over there. Like after you do your crime, you don't have rights.
I keep forgetting that within this whole context, Armand wasn't actually a citizen of the U.S., but he was in a U.S. federal prison.
Like I had my green card at
still not
some
enough.
point.
Yeah.
It's not, but you just get that ripped away from you, so
but
you're nobody.
Imagine if you could have like read for 20 hours a day, even for like
dude, I started.
A month. That would have been
swear
like,
to
how
God,
much
swear to
smarter
God,
would you have been? Like the brain power.
I'm telling you,
you would have so many extra folds in your brain.
I understand, but let me tell you. I got so bored, I started taking, because we had libraries. There was a library there.
I believe that for sure.
So there's only so many books in the library, but obviously you're not going to read them all. But I would go to all the cool fucking books, like all the science books.
Sure.
Most of the time, it was like some novel that I would read and like a physics book. Swear to God, I got so bored in there, I started doing like physics and like reading physics. That's how bored you get. But, and I'd never play chess that much outside of prison.
But that's where you...
When I went into prison the first to third month, man, holy fuck, dude.
What?
Some of these guys are like chess like masters.
Hustlers. Yeah, is it like... Have you ever seen the videos of the New York City chess hustlers? There's some parks in New York.
With the Puerto Ricans.
Yeah. Puerto Ricans, the blacks
too, yeah.
But the way that they play... The way you... Like, street chess, the way that they play it is very different than, like... library chess or chess club chess. Street chess is cool, almost like to watch, because these guys are playing fast.
Very fast.
They're talking shit to you while you're playing, and they're smart too.
Yeah.
And they're also kind of like shady one, because like sometimes they'll like, because they're so fast, sometimes they'll like move the pieces on you and you don't see it.
There's a story behind this. I'll keep it quick and we'll get out.
Yeah, sure.
This. We'll wrap it up. There was a guy in there that looked like Uncle Drew.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and Uncle Drew, he said he was in there, with a woman that said he raped somebody, but he said that she was lying.
Okay.
They were just going out.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I don't know.
Could happen. It has happened.
Who knows?
But yeah.
But he was a transfer from from North Cal, so like nobody really knew him. Nobody really fucked with him. But when it came to chess, this guy was legit.
He was the guy.
And I played him and I made a move to get. You basically corner the pawn in front of the king.
Okay.
And you checkmate him, like that, right?
Sure.
It's a beginning move, like it's a beginning setup. And I ran this, and if you don't play chess, this is something that people will fall for.
Sure.
But this guy's been there for 30 years, so he's obviously played. When I did that, he's like, "Oh, young blood, you trying to hit this? Come on, son." Boom.
Yeah.
He's like, "Next." I was like, "Fuck, dude." That's pretty much all I had.
Back to reality right there.
Yeah,
I
so
love that.
it's easy to say. I think he beat me like 3 moves later.
Yeah, probably.
So so that was it. I just want to say I appreciate you asking me these questions. It's good. One thing I comes back to me. It's how thankful I am that I'm out.
Yeah, and we're
always comes back.
I have a bunch of questions for you about that we can explore in the next episode. Just like life after prison, like the immediately getting out, because there's probably a lot of memories that you have of you and this whole experience that you may have already you haven't forgot, but they're just dormant.
Yeah,
right. Because you haven't
talked
thought
about it.
You haven't thought about it in
back.
so long,
Exactly.
right? So like things like how did it feel the moment that you got out, or like
Right.
the week after, the month after, like your first conversation with a normal person outside of prison. How did that go?
Yeah.
Like seeing people bitching in the store and you thinking like what
are you bitching
fuck?
about?
Yeah, like what the fuck? Because you knew that you were in a much harder place than them, and then maybe also the increased amount of respect you have for people who've been in prison for a long time.
Yeah, it's brutal.
And still manage to keep their head.
People that get out, man, I have big respect for people that get out
and that manage to succeed.
Yeah,
because it's so hard to be in that kind of institution.
You're a limited few to go into prison, do a hard crime, get out after 25 to life, and then succeed. Like you are very limited of who you are.
They literally make movies about that shit. It's that limited.
Yeah, it's very limited. But yeah, man, follow us on Funny But Foul Podcast on Instagram.
We hope
Funny
you guys
But Foul everywhere else. And I hope we hope you enjoyed
we hope you guys enjoyed. Any other questions? Hey, like hit us up, right? Like whatever you guys want to do. Or we already kind of mentioned what we're gonna do in the next episode. But if you guys have any other ideas, please feel free to let us know. We hope you guys enjoyed, and please share with your friends, because I know there's a lot of people that want to hear this kind of stuff that don't get the chance. So please send it their way. We got links for basically everything. So it doesn't matter if these guys are on YouTube.
They're all going to be
everywhere.
It's going to be like
audio.
Fucking one of these fucking places.
Yeah, somewhere here.
Yeah,
right there.
Right here.
Put something right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Sick.
Until next time, guys. We are
out. Peace.